Direwolves and Antic, a tale as old as time, is what I would say if Antic had been in the league for a bit longer. But look, they are a fresh face, and they're bringing in some bloody experience. Direwolves have been here for a long time, though. So they are, have stood the test of time. But can they stand the test of Antic? That's what I want to talk about. And can they stand the test of this endurance tester? Man, they got a long way to go to playoffs here, Skinny.
They certainly do. A lot of games back to back to back. You heard from Katsuri in his interview the other night that it was really going to be a case of them having on-stage scrims. That's what it really felt like, given that every opposition is, or every team in the league is who they had to go through. It's not going to be too easy for them to scrim, but certainly towards the tail end of it, as Fido mentioned, with it ending in Fury, then surely some scrims will be under their belt and they'll be hot and ready to showcase what they can do. This is how it started off last night, with River getting that 5th side pick on the Fiore. It didn't really go according to plan, however. And this game certainly did feel like a bit of a ride-off, especially when Goodo was able to get 7 stacks, or 7 marks rather, on the Kindred in as many minutes. That game certainly was a bit of a 1v9 performance. But then it was the turnaround here. Riverden says, you know what, I've had enough. You think we're tilted, you think we're out of this series, we're going to run it straight back at you. It was a very quiet game then for the opposition, right? It was a complete 180. And some, very fancy feat from both the Yone and Lucian really proved to be the definitive factors. So I'm really curious to see how they actually approach tonight, because a different style, a different champion pool, maybe some ways to throw Antic off their game.
I need to point out as well that this is also going to be, I think, the first time Zoranus has gone and faced Direwolves. He was still on Direwolves last split, right?
Who's this, sorry?
Zoranus?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, so this is like the first split where he's not actually on Direwolves, and his first opportunity to go up against his old organization. So keep an eye out there. He might be playing out of his mind. And yeah, it is the Doggy Derby, isn't it, Fido?
Yeah, it is, and one team is definitely the favorite here. I think Antic just shown superior macro to everybody else in the league, apart from maybe Bliss. But it's the question about individuals, I think, when it comes to Antic, because Ryoma has been stepping up, and every single big win that they've had, he's just been outstanding, finding the game-winning flashy plays to take them over the line. But when we look at the roster, we look at Zoranus, we look at King, we expect them to be able to do the same, but we haven't quite seen that this split.
I hope we get to see a little bit more, and today might be the time for that to happen. Now, we did notice that, I think we were talking to Ryomi yesterday, and he was saying that the comms got like a little bit messy sometimes. But was that him? I can't remember who we were talking to.
I think we spoke to Dracu, and he said that him and Swiper need to be on the same page at times.
That was the one. It was Dracu who said it yesterday. Someone said it yesterday, and it was all about how, Swiper would say, I'm going in. All right, we're going out. But then he'd go, wait, I'm going in. And then we'd go in, and everyone was already leaving. And
yeah.
A little bit of limit testing going on. So if they get that cleaned up, if the coordination's on point, then maybe it'll look a little bit cleaner. But if they have some loose links today, then maybe that's exploitable by Direwolves. Either way, let's have a quick look at the mid head-to-head. So these individuals are ones we need to keep an eye on, because Ryomi yesterday had maybe the best performance of a mid laner in the LCO history, and Emphis hasn't had too much of an opportunity, Fido, to really show us what he's capable of yet.
Yeah, it's hard to look at the Emphis stats, because obviously they've missed out a few games, so it's a smaller sample size. But Ryoma, if you just look at the KP, 80%. I'm looking at the list of KPs, Mac, and there's about 15 people separating Ryoma and the next mid laner. Everybody else below him is jungle or support, which is who you'd expect to be getting the assists, right? And the kills and the contributions running around the map. But on this team, it's Ryoma. He does everything. He goes top, he kills top. He goes bot, he kills bot. He goes mid, he solo kills that guy. He's just everywhere.
And look, even though it is slightly inflated stats because he's played more games, I'm looking at the average objectives damage, right? He's rotating, he's going for those neutral objectives. He's also going and taking plates off of other lanes once he's already won his own lane. So I think that might be a bit more inflated than necessary, but if you are the best mid laner, if you're constantly winning lane and you can just lane swap, get more plates, why the hell would you not do that, Skinny?
Yeah, everything goes through him, basically, isn't it? It's a case of, if you want a successful play to happen, it's a case of calling in Swiper to say, come to mid lane, we'll make it work, or hey, I've got priority, let's make something happen elsewhere on the map. And a lot of that was him linking up with Dracu, who was being pretty aggressive on that Nautilus yesterday, right? It was the same comp back-to-back up against Iron. The only change really happened for Zoranus, who switched from the Gnar to the Aatrox.
And look, we got Emphis on the line. It's time for the first interview of the day. And for this interview, Emphis, I've brought in one of the mid-legends from the LCO himself, Fido, to have a quick chat with you. Back in the day, when you had to go up against Fido with his, I don't know, Tristana and other weird kit at mid. What was going through your mind?
So I mean, every time I best fighter, it was just 10 mid bans from both teams. Like all the fighters champs just gone instantly. No Tristana, no Azir, no Ryze.
Look, pretty solid way to get rid of Fido. Try to nerf him. Good luck. But look, at the same time, Memphis, let's talk shop today. So it is going to be a big game. Antic are very scary, and you're going up against what looks like the current top mid laner in the LCO right now. So what is the game plan? Are you trying to play 4 mid? Are you trying to like... Actually, don't tell everyone because, you know, someone's probably watching.
Yeah.
But, you know, what's the game plan today? What's the confidence levels like?
Well, we haven't really been scrimming much, but we have done some draft prep, and yeah, I think we have a few picks up our sleeves for tonight.
Okay, beautiful. Draft angle sounds good, Skimmy.
Well, it certainly does. In terms of what we obviously got a chance to play last night, arguably some of your best champions in the Syndra as well as the Karma. Is this still a consideration, even if they aren't as popular, for the likes of an Ari, or obviously the LeBlanc is still very popular too?
Yeah, if I get a good Ari or LeBlanc angle, that is something that I do want to pick on stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Fido, mate, what you got for the men?
Well, I guess you guys haven't had any or much scrim practice, so is there something that you've been doing yourself that maybe has given you confidence in beating Antic today?
So I played solo queue a few nights ago with King and Ryoma, and they went 40 deaths on Calista Not on my team. So yeah, I think if they pick those champs tonight, we might have a shot at winning.
Okay, so that's the angle, trying
there
to force someone to Calista Not. Exposed, absolutely exposed. Memphis, mate, look, we'll let you go, and good luck in your game today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. He's got that penguin still chilling. Was he the one with the penguin?
I have a penguin.
All those splits ago. You got a penguin?
Oh, maybe here's one too.
I can't see your penguin. We got.
Do you want me to go grab it?
Skimmy.
I'll go grab it.
Is it in arms? Yeah. All right. Yep.
Oh, there you go.
He's just chilling on the couch.
Happy feet.
That is a penguin.
He's
happy
happy.
feet. Happy feet. Wombo combo.
Wombo combo.
Lovely. What about you, Fido? Where's your penguin?
I'll bring you next time. Bring you next time.
Ah.
Give you a reason to keep me on the broadcast.
Of course.
Fair. Fair.
Penguin or bust, huh? Do I have one?
You have a
No,
penguin,
that's
Mac?
why I'm out here after today. Because not because Nat's back, because I forgot my penguin, but I brought a dog,
Hey.
Hey.
which my dog's been kissing and left the whole day. Anyway, look.
Valentine's Day was just yesterday, mate.
It was. They had a great time on the couch. I had to avoid looking at it the whole broadcast. It was crazy. Now look, what do we got going today? So, Antic Direwolves. 2-0?
That's what I'm going for. Look, Mac, I was looking at some of the stats, especially for that mid lane matchup we just compared for, and it's for Memphis. Let's just talk about the experience difference between these two players, right? Memphis has played 30 professional games with 10 unique champions. So 30 versus for Aroma, 545.
Yep.
Nearly 40 champions for the Antics mid laner. So it's a bit of a colossal divide. It's a canyon. It's a gap. It's gonna be tough.
Crazy scenes. Well, speaking of gaps, Zoranus, mate, get in here. Let's have a quick chat. I want to talk to you about what it's feeling like going up against Direwolves, because it will be the first time that you have gone up against Direwolves since you haven't been part of their lineup.
Look, honestly, like, feels a bit weird versing my old team, but at the same time, none of the players are the same, so it's a bit like, I don't know, they feel like a completely new team, so I'm not thinking too much of it, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to go against my old team for sure.
Yeah, cool. How are you feeling going into it? Like, utmost confidence? Did you watch the games from Direwolves yesterday just to figure out how they're looking?
I saw some of the games. I saw Gudo with a crazy Kindred performance, but you know, I mean, they don't look too good. I'm feeling pretty confident going into this one.
Okay, beautiful. Skimmy?
Yeah, well, to that point, I suppose, talking about the top lane matchup, obviously River's incredibly unpredictable. 1 minute he's feeding on the Fiora, the next minute he's popping off on the Yone. So does that kind of get you a little bit concerned because you're not kind of sure what form or even champion he's going to present to try and challenge you?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, that guy plays like a bit of a psychopath, so always got to be wary. Never know where he could be. Maybe he's in the bot bush level 1, who knows? You know, that's something we've got to think about, but I think, like, as much as, like, he might have some playmaking, he's going to throw the game as well, so it should be chill.
But we'll see if that throw comes through. Fido, mate, anything?
Yeah, I guess in the first week we saw you, in one of the first games, we saw you pop off on Udia, right? You had that really strong performance but against TN, but since then you've been a little bit quiet in the top lane, just kind of a role player, letting Ryoma take the reins. Is that just something that you guys have as an identity now? You're not trying to explore, you know, playing through top more, maybe playing through bot? You guys are just happy with playing through mid because that's getting you wins?
You know, like, I think it's just partially just comes down to the top lane meta at the moment. Everything's kind of just like a handshake, honestly. Like, versus Kasane, honestly, there's like not that much you can do in lane against him, so that's just like kind of how it is. You know, it's like not the most fun to play top lane right now, but that's top lane for you.
Has it ever been fun to play top lane? Because I feel like every year we come back and the top laners are just saying, you know, it's just top lane, man. We're just an island.
Look, when Teemo top is playable, it's fun.
Okay. Okay, we'll keep that up our sleeves just in case he slides his way back into meta again. Look, Zoranus, mate, good luck in the game today. We'll see if you need it after this first one.
Cheers.
Look, Mac, I'm a little bit disappointed in you, mate. Do you know
Me? Why?
Because you didn't say congratulations for the interview.
Yeah, I was trying really hard not to today because my brain kept going to do it. I'm also very scattered. I woke up at 4 p.m. Don't ask why. Crazy scenes, absolutely crazy scenes. But look, you guys, look at the side select. These guys, blue sides, nothing special. But we need to get your Twitch points. Gamba, get them in. Let us know where it's going. Who knows? Direwolves could come out of the gates swinging real hard, and you could get yourself some crazy amount of Twitch points. But I'm sure if you've been putting a lot of Twitch points on Antic, you might have lost some in that Bliss game. But even in that Bliss game, from what I remember, I think it was Bliss like 71% or 75% or something, because we've got that big old Bliss fan base. But we've got a big old Direwolves fan base. We've got a big old Antic fan base with the legends that they're bringing into the scene. So who knows what it's going to look like for you guys. But let's have a look at what we think it's going to be in terms of our predictions. I've gone for that 2-zip. We've all gone for that 2-zip. And Twitch chat, hey, they're only 1 ahead now. I can't remember if they were 2 ahead yesterday or not, but Skimmy,
Twitch is too
you're not
good.
last. You're not last.
I'm
now.
not
You
last
got that
anymore.
one
I've
to
caught
one.
up to Max, or in today's case, I've caught up to Fido. So I'm happy about that one. Went for the draw, and we did in fact get that draw, so I'm quite proud of that one. But I've got to catch up to you. That's the issue. Too good.
Yeah.
You're too
We'll
good.
see how Nat was keeping herself ahead before I got on the broadcast, and I managed to hold it. So I'm proud of this performance. Much better than my old performances on the desk. But look, I've got to get out of here. Champ Select's ready.
Thank you very much there, Mac. Let's load ourselves then in for the only best of 2 tonight, where Direwolves will start on the left-hand side with that first pick priority. And the question does become, are we banning away any pocket picks, or are we going to very much conform it to the meta?
Yeah, well, I really like the bans from Direwolves. Like, get rid of Udia, that's the champion that Zoranus has looked the best on the split, and then Kalista seems to be bandaging a lot of the communication issues on Antic. Yesterday we saw numerous times where Drag, felt like he was very out of position on the Nautilus, but then just gets pulled back by King, and it's a winning fight. So really like those bans from Direwolves.
Yeah, the Lee Sin coming out as well, knowing that Lisa is, well, really akin to playing that one. Definitely his go-to champion. Didn't get a chance last night, but certainly not going to deter him if the opportunity presents itself. But with a first pick Varus up and available, Direwolves going to snatch that one right up.
Yeah, not too surprising. Varus, just one of the most stable champions in the game. Plays any lane, has a ton of support pairings. Just an all-around strong champion, and we'll see what Antic want to respond with, whether they want to lock in their bot lane answer here or take another prior pick, something like, okay, we're going to see the center. We saw that come out earlier from Antic. We saw King playing the center. I think it was in their game against Bliss. They did end up losing it, but I think the lane looked really good. They got something like 3 plates and just the isolated 2v2. So, Swiper going for the rel. This could be a flex as well, Skimmy.
So he can still be a flex. I mean, in terms of what we've seen from them, it has only been the center Tom Kench for the moment, but there are definitely a few possibilities out there, be it the Rel, be it the Wukong. We've also seen things like Yasuo as well as even Sion as some pretty good options. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that was to go for Swiper. But let's see what Direwolves go for. Their response is going to be the Orianna, and given that Roma yesterday had this massive keenness to lock in the Azir, we did see the Orianna tend to win the lane, but then the Azir would just take over the game.
Yeah, that's my worry, Skimmy. I would have loved to see that third bang actually being Azir for Direwolves, because Ryoma just looks unstoppable on it against the best players in the league. He just outclasses everyone. So, and this is a very comfortable matchup. You know, this is a matchup you play every day. Every second game as an Azir player is Azir Orianna, Azir Orianna. It's been that way for a few months now, so he's more than happy with this lock-in, and we'll see where they go with the bans. The Nocturne to start things off for Antic.
Yeah, Nocturne just makes sure there's no that ease of execution, right? The delivery system as the Nocturne Paranoia is in, and then gets hit by the blind shockwave. And if that wasn't enough, then you got the Chain of Corruptions and the Quickness Charm right after. It would be a pretty disgusting CC combo that Direwolves could present themselves with, so Antic will say goodbye to that one. But the response is, yeah, we're not convinced that Rel is going to be flexed. We think it is a surefire thing in the jungle, so let's remove that Senna Time Kinch combination and get you to reveal something a little bit new.
Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense to me to pick Rakan on 3 there, right? You could have just locked in Nocturne, because you already see the enemy jungle. Instead, you've just blinded Rakan bot lane, and now the Nocturne gets banned away. So the Riven gets taken away as well from Antic. Good choice, River, just a little bit too proficient on it. And the response of the Seraphine Palm Kench, some of the best pairings with Senna.
Yeah, Senna's been so strong as well, or rather Seraphine's been incredibly strong as well, given that they've played it with a few different pairings. The last time showcasing it was a Seraphine Bard. Obviously not the case here though. Cassante gets locked in, so I'm going to be quite happy about that one. A blind top lane champion with the Riven denied away, which I don't think we're ever going to see at all. Piloted here by River again since week 1. He's got a chance now to try and counter that Cassante, and is currently hovering the Jax.
Yeah, I think Cassante is probably one of the best blind picks right now. I'm not sure if River actually plays Gwen. I'd assume that he doesn't, because no ban came out and he hasn't locked it in. So we've got the Yone coming out. We saw that yesterday to huge success from River, and that is definitely a good matchup into Cassante, as long as he can't just itemize purely armor, as long as there's some magic threat from the rest of Yone's team, which there is. We'll see if Emphis can maintain good game state and stay relevant. So Sejuani as well looked in the same combo as yesterday, Skimmy.
It certainly is, and we saw it work so wonderfully for them, right? The Sejuani had a bit of a pressure point to go towards top, get him ahead, and then allow him to just run that show on his own. Also with the Varus as well, it clearly indicates that the 3 champions, or the 3 individuals rather, that did the most damage yesterday are going to run it back and have so much agency to do damage again. Well, now is the grand reveal. What do Antic want to lock in as their bot lane pairing? This was the cycle that Draku went through yesterday too, but ended up saying, you know what, 3 games of Nautilus in a row, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, no, he keeps doing this this hover of Nautilus Maokai last pick all the time. I think the 3rd game they've done it, which is pretty funny. But I do think Nautilus is the best kind of matchup into Rakan. It's very easy to interrupt him in one of the jumps, and the jump still goes on cooldown, and you've just kind of got a free pick off there. So yeah, really solid draft, I think, from both sides. Direwolves maybe took some notes, thought about what worked yesterday, and tried to merge it with the identities of their other players. And Antic just picked an Antic draft.
They certainly did, yeah. It feels certainly like they've both locked in what works and what has been successful, and certainly a bit of recency bias, I think, has come into consideration as well. But in terms of those direct matchups, you've already mentioned about how the Azir Orianna one is going to fare. What are you most looking forward to? What do you think is going to be the most volatile? Is it as simple as saying top lane should be fairly aggressive for the Yone, knowing what River's playstyle is like?
Yeah, I think Swiper needs to avoid top lane, because this Yone Sejuani combo is just absolutely ludicrous early game. So many stuns in a row, so much damage and CC control. So I'd expect Swiper to maybe path down bot side and look for some bot dives, knowing that Lisa's going to abuse this strength in the top lane.
Well, that in mind then, in terms of ease of execution, do you think it favours either side more so than the other? Because if we compare what we're seeing for Direwolves, it is a very much hit the target, lock them down with infinite CC. 5 champions that can certainly do that, whereas Antic's maybe a little bit more meticulous in how they need to try and dance around and find that perfect counter engage.
Yeah, I think with Antic, you've got just a beefier front line. If you have a beefier front line, it's always easier to execute, because you just hit the front and your 3 tanks stay alive for longer. So I think the game is needs a little bit of creativity from Direwolves, but both teams certainly have a good chance of winning.
Winning is really the aim of the game here, with one team already secured for playoffs and the other lagging fairly far behind. Every single game is going to count. As you can see, they're the record for Direwolves. No wins just yet, but a single draw found last night and 2 defeats on the bounce as well. They've got a lot of games to get through and a lot of big opponents in their way. Any single point would be a massive, massive win, given how close that bottom of the table is right now. Only 2 teams above them tied with 2 points, only a single point above them. So if they can take anything away from a team already locked into playoffs, it certainly does keep us guessing as to how those playoffs could play out.
Absolutely, Skimmy. I hope that by the time the playoffs come, teams will start taking Azir away from Ryoma, because he is the best Azir player in our league, and he is somehow playing it every single game. So we get to see another game of it this time round, and no doubt we're going to see some really cool outplays.
I'm terrified based on last night when he got 50% of the damage in just one game alone, not to mention the entire series. It's criminal.
It's just mental. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on mid lane. Jungle should be pretty straightforward, just kind of pathing down for Swiper like we said, pathing up for Lisa. Early trading from Shinky, lands the knock-up, but takes a big chunk because Katsuri was out of position, not able to get that magical triangle for them both to be hitting at the same time, and walks away wounded.
Yeah, as you say, that line in terms of being able to trade and respond certainly wasn't favourable for them. But he's going to respond with a little bit of pain after the fact. Rain of Fire going on through. And zoning them as they will get the push on here. Seemingly going to hit level 2 first as a result as well. But you can see from the fan vote, an overwhelming majority of you believing, 87% in fact, saying that Antic should be the heavy favourites. And look, we don't doubt you. All of us sharing that same sentiment, all going for the 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Twitch chat. I think that's a fair call to make. And I think if this game took place a little bit later, if this was perhaps the last game of the season, Direwolves would have a much higher chance. But at the moment, we all know they're just trying to gel together, trying to find out what works. So, yeah, we'll see if they can do it in this game. There's always a chance. They definitely have the veterancy. Katsuri knows how to close a game out if he gets a lead. River just has the individual talent, and Emphis in trouble.
He certainly is in trouble, needs to flash to safety. He actually decides to opt away and go left. Swiper going to miss the pounce upon him. Nothing burnt by the Antic side, but now mid lane becomes even scary for Emphis.
Yeah, I mean, well played from Emphis there, kind of holding his summoner, keeping his nerve, keeping his cool. But a little bit slow from Swiper. It was pretty obvious which way the Orion is going to flash, right? So he's going to flash towards the towers, so he could have kind of preemptively just flash knocked him up and secured the kill, but hesitated and gets away with just paying the price of his flash.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's going to actually interrupt his ability to be as aggressive in this matchup, as we certainly saw yesterday. It was all a case of you know, place the ball and just spam distance off cooldown and try and keep this Azir zone back for the meantime. But I know we'll always find a way. And knowing that you don't have a flash, you can look to try and pressure. You force out that TP, and by that point, you've not only got tempo pressure, but then you've got you know, ganking pressure as well.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit of trouble in the mid lane now, especially because this flash won't be up by the time Ryoma hits 6, so there'll be a really clear window for Swiper to come back mid lane and play off the scoop. But yeah, top lane seemingly going in the favor of River, up a little bit of CS, gets a nice tempo reset off his recode bow. That's a lovely buy for Yone. Helps him reduce that Q cooldown and get some easier trades into Cassante. But yeah, both mids still kind of greedy, still sticking around. This is definitely a mid laner thing when you're low on resources and you just want that lost chapter. You stick around a little bit too long, can get punished. We'll see if it happens in this game.
Yeah, it's a good question, because as much as you say he's trying to hold it in this distance, all you can do is Swiper is pounce across the wall and say, you are that sitting duck. The first gank was a flash, the second gank is first blood.
Yep, it's the lost chapter bait. It has a very long taunt, and many mid laners will be familiar with this. You just want to stick around like 1k base, 900 base. You're not happy with that, but this is the top pressure we're talking about, Skimmy.
Certainly is the top pressure. At least looking for the permafrost active as they try and put their pressure on towards Zoran. As he flashes, so does Lisa. Cops it off a tower shot and gets dropped to 100 health.
Yeah, I think a little bit botched there. You shouldn't really need to commit 2 flashes there, and Cassante has no way out. He didn't even ghost. You saw that from Zoranus. He just accepted his death. There's really no way to counter the permafrost in the early game. But look, they get the kill. That's all that matters, and they're putting the gold in the right hands.
Certainly are putting it in the right hands. This is that bread and butter combo from last night, working wonders again. And knowing what we've seen from River so far in those limited amount of games, he plays aggressively and plays like he's ahead no matter the game state. So Ione in such a phenomenal position this early on. You can expect that Blade of the Rune King to be coming online very quickly. And I imagine if the items continue to spike in his favor, then you're not really too concerned about the tanky nature of Antic's roster.
Yeah, but I am a little bit concerned about the tanky nature of Antic's roster because of Katsuri's build. He's opted for lethality Varus in this game, even though there's a triple frontline that will be running at him. So he's, I guess, just opting to use his Q, to use his ultimate to actually help Yone set up in the fights, and Yone is kind of the main carry, or the Orianna Shockwave. But yeah, Katsuri won't have as much agency in this game once some tank items come online.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to know the comparison. I've not done the research myself, but it does certainly feel like it's an 80-20 split in terms of lethality versus on-hit. And it feels certainly the case that if we do get that on-hit Varus, then they're most likely paired alongside a Renata. So not to be the case here. Certainly a concern that if you don't spike quickly enough as the lethality user, then the rest of your team just doesn't have enough damage to work in tandem with you. So Dragon going the way then for Antic, trade being that Lisa works his way towards those Void Grubs, and level 6 working in favor of Ryoma. He scoops back Emphis, the Shockwave drags back Swiper, but does Emphis have enough speed to run towards the Sejuani as he's here with the Glacial Prison, locks down the Azir, and then realizes, hang on a minute, am I in trouble instead?
Wow, that was really well played from Emphis. I mean, I've just been so used to seeing Emphis get nervous on stage. Hopefully he gets out here. But that was just perfectly played. You know, he didn't rush the Shockwave. He identified the Azir does not have any threat on him. It's just the Swiper CC that he has to be worried about. Locked him in place and ran towards his jungler, and Lisa was there just in time. Shinky.
Oh no, Shinky tried to be cute with that one as the aggression comes out from Draku posturing in the lane. He tried to hit the grand entrance, doesn't hit anything on that occasion, and there's a bit of an HP trunk, but then Draku in the process also feeling the burden of that one. The flash grand entrance, the chain fadeaway double flash, disengage! Ah, that was smooth from Antic.
Yeah, it looked like Draku with that little sidestep backwards, not believing that the Sejuani gank is happening, was going to be the death of him, but actually turns it around. River in trouble again.
He certainly is in trouble right now. What does he have left in the tank? He's got no summoners, and he's not going to have any ultimate. Actually, the animation coming out from the Afterlife, too little too late for him. And both these junglers are really applying so much pressure in these first 10 minutes.
At least that animation doesn't actually put your ult on cooldown, which it does with a lot of abilities, so gets to save that one. But yeah, in the bot lane, Shinky just not expecting the enemies to flash his grand entrance, and too low HP. Once he goes for that flash W, he's just dead there. And I wouldn't say that getting 2 flashes for a kill is worth it in the early game.
Well, let's see then, in terms of snowballing potential, they certainly stemmed the aggression that River was finding, as that is going to even up the CS deficit. But certainly in the bot lane, it is the Katsuri show, up by a sizable margin, despite the pressure that has gone towards them. They have been able to answer back at least, and even if his support does fall on down, certainly does put them in good stead, given that the champion needs to spike early, whilst we've certainly seen some centers, if it does reach late game, even a support center, right? Not even farming, 150 stacks come online, and you're absolutely terrified.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Very scary champion. And I think Lisa here has a big question. He's got his top side up, but he has to punish this flashless Nautilus with Merc Treads. You know, Merc Treads Doran's ring. This guy melts to Varus, but he chooses to path to top side to play around his Yone. Not going to punish the double flashes used in the bot lane, so those might just come back off cooldown, and no advantage gained there from Direwolves.
Yeah, really going to leave them to be self-sufficient for the meantime here, as River's going to turn a bit of aggression into a tower plate, picked up for himself quite nicely. Both don't actually have any summoners available for them, so no TP if a fight were to break out again. And it certainly could be a good avenue for them to target and then look towards that next Void Grub spawn.
Yeah, it looks like Yone might be looking for a quick roam mid, but unfortunately spotted by a ward. Definitely a good idea. No cleanse on the Azir. If Sejuani joined in, they could have gone for it, but yeah, generally when you do these kind of roams as a top lane, it does cost you a little bit, you know, in being a plate or some minions. So you do want to involve your jungler. If you just kind of come by yourself, it doesn't usually work out. But Swiper looking behind bot lane here, and no flash on Shinky.
Yeah, with the vision revealed, they know exactly what the play is right now. Hugging the wall is the double bot lane here for Direwolves, but it is going to be Shinky that pays the price for that one. Katsuri flashing to safety, Shinky not having that luxury. And not an escape plan as the fight breaks out of mid. Double ultimates burn. Emphis worse for wear. And we've seen this play before. This was the same escape plan with Lisa there to back him up.
Yeah, we've seen this somewhere before. We run it back, but this time around he's getting cancelled. So losing a big chunk of that wave mid because he's not able to recall and teleport quickly enough. Lisa might be able to catch some of it, but that's definitely not the champion you want to put the gold on. And Yeah, Ryoma just ultra aggressive. That's what we said before the start of the game, right? Highest KP, highest damage numbers in the league. As soon as his abilities are off cooldown, he just goes in.
Yeah, and every single time we've actually panned to the mid lane, it has been Ryoma starting the fight. So off right, it's always begun with that Emperor's Divide, and now you're starting to see that he's accrued a massive, massive lead. Up by a good 25 CS. Boots 2 already complete, and the components towards that Nash's Tooth not too far away. Lisa, however, though, is going to try and convert their earlier 3 Void Grubs into the Exodia of all 6 and give themselves some real sticking power, given that both River and Katsuri have been quite keen to push.
Yeah, but a little bit hesitant because they don't know where the Azir is, if the Azir is walking straight to the Void Grubs or Zoranus. Unleashed top lane.
He's going Unleashed right now as the double ultimate comes out into play. Hook goes out, but the flash preemptive, baiting out a hook that was never really going to land. The grand entrance to knock up Swiper, who's in trouble. The TP, though, from Ryoma to come in all the way down from bot lane. The Swiper jumps in. River swings back with his soul now reconnected. And the hook is on once again. Glacial Prison locking down King. And some piercing arrows from the backline nearby Katsuri as they look to try and contest the 2 remaining Void Grubs.
Yeah, pretty good micro there from both teams. Unfortunately, Oriana's Shockwave was just on cooldown. Looks like Antic, they want to recontest. They're walking in, Skimmy.
Certainly are. Lisa says, job done. I picked up 5. We've got those Void Mutts. The second TP now as Zoranus actually regroups with the rest of the team. River dashing on through, hunting this bot lane, hunting the 2 carries rather. One target of mine, kill King, but the soul steps back. He doesn't get the kill. He dashes across the wall, and it's a double for Emphis.
That is crazy, Skibby. Lisa's getting hit by like 3 people in the pit, and he's just ignoring them and continuing to do the Void Grubs. Finishes the cap, flashes out. I mean, that's cool guys don't look at explosions.
They really do not. That's 6 stacks complete, and a clear win condition now for them. Certainly a case if Antic invests too much into these dragons, they can get a bit of a siege going on. Let's run it back on the replay, because initially it starts with Dive saying, well, let's just finish what we started.
I mean, the recontest makes sense, but they're missing a lot of ultimates here. It's just Swiper that has his ult, and the Oriana Shockwave is a big threat, and Lisa just ignores everyone. There's 2 people hitting him, but they're just tanks, so he continues doing the camp. Once Swiper gets his shield back online, somehow, I think it's even his Sunfire, his whatever, the Balmy Cinder gets the last hit on the Void Grub, and yeah, the positioning is a little bit broken for Antic all over the place there.
Yeah, a little bit messy. Allowed Revenant to pick apart 2 carries on their own with no protection afforded to them because they're all stuck inside that pit looking to say, we don't want you to get all 6 grubs. But that is the reality. And now we find ourselves 13 minutes into this one with items complete and damage certainly starting to come online. And this was really kind of our expected play, right? If Antic then do consider putting members towards that second dragon spawn, then Lisa may just target a side lane, in particular, return back to where it all started with River, and allow him to then take down that tower.
Yeah, and Lisa needs to be a little bit more decisive here. He knows that the dragon is being taken, so he's kind of on a timer to make this play happen, and it would be really nice with the 6, not just 5, but the 6 Void Grubs that they picked up would be really nice to kill Zoranus and get a lot of damage on this tower.
A couple of auto attacks, a few Voidlings then spawn as a result, and with it being an Infernal map, a bit of extra movement speed for everybody to enjoy with those crystals spawning, as you saw just there. But now, returning back to the lane in it will be Ryoma. Nash's Tooth complete, picked himself up a Dark Seal as well, believing that, look, I am so far ahead, and I bet on myself to win out this match, so it's my time to snowball again and look towards that fantastic item in Magi's.
Yeah, absolutely, Skimmy. And find the bot lane.
Fight is in the bot lane. Lisa rotating from base into bot to find Draku, who flashes to safety into the shadows as King offers him a little bit of protection. There's a cleanse having to be burnt by the Senate in the process too.
Yeah, that was... we have to look at the replay there, Skimmy, but that must have been poor CC layering because they have... what, 1, 2, 3, they have Verisol, they have Rakan W, Rakan ult, Sejuani ult, Sejuani Pet. They have 5 crowd control abilities, and the support is able to get away there. So that's a little bit shocking. They lose the Rift Herald for this play, right? Swiper sees them on bot side, just starts it up, a free objective for him. And yeah, just a little bit of gold lost for Direwolves again.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be an easy consideration for them. You look at the composition, and it has boatloads of CC that you shouldn't really get punished for overlapping everything. So let's see exactly what happens here.
So he starts with Sedgel, which is not something you generally want to do, right? Because then it delays your passive stacking on Sejuani. I think that's what it really came down to there. Leading with the Sedgel instead of the Sejuani Q. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on this top lane. River really kind of needs to make progress in the 1v1 because the rest of his team isn't as strong as Antic right now.
No, certainly isn't. And he knows that he's in a still very vulnerable lane with nothing separated, and not the CS nor the items as well. Iceborne Gauntlet versus that Blade of the Rune King. And I'm sure he'd love to get his way with that 1v1 so that he can rotate and especially help out here for Emphis, because in isolation, he's bearing the burden of trying to take down this Azir, but when he's grouped up with his team fights, he's a very strong individual, forced to flash out the Magma Storm after realizing that he wasn't going to be saved. The Sun Disc spawn, Lisa dashing across the wall, and River is making that rotation. Dawning Shadow from bot lane, shields are provided, damage is there, and Shinky pops the quickness, scooped back instantly, piercing arrow flashed away from, fate sealed, not connecting, and Ryoma eventually falls on down. He gets one in the process, but it is still Direwolves trading up positively.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you get told to play safe mid and you just see 5 people, it's very difficult, but Ryoma made the most out of that situation. Getting a kill back is huge. They're losing waves on both sides, the Direwolves are, and let's see this replay. So Emphis, I mean, this tower does look dead to me. He's getting very greedy to get that cannon and shockwaves preemptively, but still gets clipped by this Q from Swipe. It looks like he didn't need to flash, but in reality that actually baits them in a little bit too deep, and River's very hesitant about using his ultimate here, which is kind of strange. He just needs to cast the ult and get the Azir flash out of the way. It'll be a lot easier to finish him off there. So a little bit messy from Direwolves. If you send 5 people mid, you really shouldn't be losing any players to that play, but they did get the shutdown.
They did get the shutdown, they did get the control regained back in mid lane, but the consequence was they lost so much in terms of top and bot. 2 towers taken in the process, and now it becomes 3-0 in favor of Antic. 2 very different playstyles and win conditions that they're both looking to try and unlock, but at the top of the table, it will be, to no one's surprise, Ryoma with the most gold in the game. Not too far behind will be Zoranis, after a bit of split pushing pressure going his way. But as for Direwolves, it is those main members again in both River and Katsuri.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen a single game this split where Ryoma hasn't had the most gold in the game, so it's a reoccurring theme, especially on Azir, and he's going to be feeling very comfortable in this next team fight.
It's worth noting that both Katsuri and King are dead even at the stage as well, so yes, they are going to be building very similar items, but it certainly puts them in good stead to say that we can continue to scale on through. Up by 3,000 at the moment as Draku jumps on in, doesn't hit anything for the meantime as they can dash away to safety, but looking to put the pressure on, knowing that they've got 2 dragons so far. Next is spawning in 20 seconds as well, and with flashes missing, some vulnerable targets to punish.
Yeah, Skimmy, and it's hard to say what you should do here as Direwolves. Looks like they do want to contest the dragon, but we talked about this before the start of the game. You know, they don't really have a front-to-back comp. Looks like River's getting some damage on Swiper for free, but it's not going to be anything meaningful. And yeah, you'd favor Antic. They have the positioning, they have the beefy front line, they have a fed Ryoma in this fight, so Direwolves should just be looking to trade the top tower instead of posturing here.
Yeah, Lisa posturing quite aggressively on that one, waiting for somebody to maybe reveal themselves for the perfect ultimate to kick things off. Unable to find it, and they concede mid-pressure in the process. A Sun Disc also summoned on the enemy tier 1. It completely reroutes Direwolves to say, you got to fight from your jungle right now, fight in this ramp. Out goes that chain of corruptions, the hook is there, but a shockwave interrupts it. Draku will not fight for the meantime. In jumps Swiper, out goes Shinky, charming him in the process. Permafrost is active. It's going to go on through now, but Lisa dies, so no stuns today. Knocked back is the kill, as Shinky goes falling on down, and it is a complete ace, a perfect one, as Antic stands strong.
Yeah, I mean, Skimmy, we just said that beforehand, right? It's just a decision-making gap there. You've got a Yone, he's a split push champ, he's built the Borg for split pushing, just let him take the top tower, trade it. The enemy team is just way too hard to walk into, and Direwolves make the mistake, they pay the price, and this could just be a game-losing mistake.
It certainly feels that way, doesn't it? Up by 7,000 gold now. It was still slim margins before. It was definitely within touching distance. But the way Antic played this one, they set it up beautifully.
I mean, what do you do here, Skimmy? Who checks the bush? Who does not get one shot on Direwolves? It's Lisa, but instead Lisa's trying to get a flank off. So Yone loses his entire HP bar before the fight happens. A beautiful shockwave from Emphis, but it's not enough to salvage it. River's just a little bit too low. He can't layer his CC with any of his teammates, and in the end has to flash out. And now to a man down, the team fight's just simply lost.
It certainly is. Not only did they get themselves on a soul point, but now they've threatened even more towers being taken in those side lanes, exploiting it even harder, making life even more difficult then for River to threaten them with some split pushing shenanigans. And as mentioned before, up by so much gold makes it very easy then for Antic to say, well, Baron has just spawned. If we so desire, we can force a dance and we can punish you for having nothing available and run it back with the same outcome.
Yeah, and it's not just the gold lead, Skimmy, it's also the item gaps, right? It's the actual fact that we've got 2 completed items on 3 members of Antic, so nowhere is safe, it feels like, for Direwolves. They can't really control the vision. They see their wards getting taken out, but if they take a fight, they know they'll lose it, so they're just left with the scraps, the couple waves pushing in, all their camps are gone, and complete control over this Baron. There's not that much damage outside of the Azir, so we'll likely see a turn from Antic rather than a start. Yeah, if left unattended, this Baron will die.
It certainly will, and you can see from the vision toggle from our lovely observers there that they are going in blind right now. They have no idea where anything is. It really is a case of the vision line has been pushed back so defensively that whilst they posture, it is a posture of more say, I'm acting like a human ward right now because I'm not sure where we can be aggressive. We can't even safely attend to these lanes that are crashing into our tier 2s in these side lanes.
Yeah, I mean, Antic can just have the agency to start the Baron whenever they wish, or take a recall like this, refresh their wards if they like. There's really no way for Direwolves to walk in, and the other thing we have to mention, right, is the Senna stealth also making it so difficult to tell which champions are near her, right? Is that a Nautilus or is that an Azir? Would you want to engage on that? Is it actually threatening if it's running at you, that little ghost? So for Direwolves, I mean, River just has to take a risk. He has to make a play on the side lane to progress this game, but he's down to full item, so here we go, Skimmy.
Here we certainly do go in as the fight begins. Rishinki starting things off. A shockwave that hits nothing. I think it's a preemptive one into the Zoranus TP, but he arrives a second later. And now with 2 major, actually make it 3 major ultimates gone, Antic have all the control to start this Baron.
4 even, Skimmy. 4 ults gone. There's really no tools, but Direwolves, they have to make their last stand.
They certainly do have to make their last stand as the Baron gets closer to smite range. Lisa threatening that steal, but Kensu gets pounced upon with no protection. It's an easy pick then for King. He had nothing available to him, but he stood strong. And Ryoma, having burned his flash to start things off with, then gets that second killing blow. They run into mid lane. Zoranus shepherding them out in a 1v3.
Yeah, I think even if they tried, even if the rest of Antic just left Zoranus there, I'm pretty sure he gets a triple kill. That's kind of the state of the game, the world we live in right now, and yeah, Direwolves, I mean, what do you do from this position? You just have to hope for an Elder. Maybe you flip an Elder once that comes. You're going to have to drop some inhibs because there's just too many champions that can stand in your ways, too many tanks, too much range from Antic to allow these easy sieges, and I don't think Direwolves have eaten any of their top camps for quite a while, Skimmy. It's been at least 6 minutes before they've taken a top camp, and yeah, they try to punish Ryoma here, I think. Is this before? So this is after all their ultimates are burned? Oh, it's before. It's before. That's just a bug on the HUD. And yeah, they don't really layer the CC on Ryoma. If they all CC them at the same time, maybe they could one-shot him. And that's definitely the target that you want. That's all the damage gone. But once he trades Flash for 4 ults, I mean, that's just such a high value spell usage. And now you just can't walk in. There's just no damage. You can't. You can kill one guy, maybe. But then you all die if you're Direwolves here. And they still try. Maybe they could have taken mid-tower. I mean, there's really nothing to review in this fight. It's just impossible. River tries. He lands a beautiful ult. It just doesn't have the items to get any kills.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ult, but it's a spectacle that nets them nothing more than you are dead, which may be the same fate he finds himself in right now because he's surrounded by 4. Ult to try and go out to safety, but that soul, it's always going to snap on back. Denied before, as it's taken by Roma for his 5th of the game. They will go for the split push now, and finally, at 24 minutes, find their very first tower of the game. But you take a bit of a stock check of what Direwolves have left. It's their base completely exposed, and it allows Antic to do things like this, completely wrap around flanks and catch Direwolves off guard.
No, it was a smart decision from Direwolves. They're just trying to proxy the waves, only allow Antic to siege 1 lane at a time, minimize their losses. Lisa in a little bit of trouble, but should be A-okay. Yeah, very smart calling from Katsuri there, you know, that he's trying to save the mid inhib, drop the bot 1, accepting that it's gone. But at the end of the day, once Antic retreat, even if they don't get the mid inhib, they're going to have that Infernal Soul.
All 3 ultimates available from their bot side. Let's see if they can use that to try and prevent anything else from falling on down. This second one seems to be conceded, and then Swiper says, you know what, we won't let you start the fight because we'll jump in first. He hits a massive Magnet Storm onto multiple members, which makes it easier for the rest of the team to jump on in. River getting fancy with it and forcing out the Zonias from Ryoma. The arrow just not enough there from Katsuri after the fact, as he's just not got enough damage this late into the game. You mentioned it before, into 3 tanks, it's always going to be a massive uphill task. And they just get to walk in, take everything, and walk out.
Yeah, that fight was a lot closer than I thought it would be, you know, at this point in the game, Skimmy. And They came very close to killing Ryoma, but it's just the Zhonya's, the extra armor he gets from that Zoronas playing with his food. It's what we talked about in mid lane as well. You can just ignore 2 players, 3 players. It's irrelevant. He's killing them, Skippy.
He's baiting them as well. I mean, River's ultimate is gone and through, hit absolutely nothing. So Zoronas says, watch as I take you on a bit of a magical journey. Out goes the knock-up, and that means it's very easy then for Dragu to bonk him down with the hammer. As the anchor gets it done in the end, knocking himself across the wall to snag away a double kill. And Nimajais comes out to play here as Roma TP's back on in. They want to end the game right here and now.
Yeah, and look, I'm glad to see Zoronas having a little bit of fun, pushing his limits. This is the Zoronas that we love to see, that we've been missing for the past couple of weeks. And even though he's playing a very safe champion, very boring champion, he's making it look fun.
He certainly is making it look fun as Antic take a convincing win here in game number 1. They're up by 10,000 gold. 2 different win conditions were played for as they farm them inside that fountain and clearly send them a message as to how this entire series is going to play on out. Ultimately, Antic, too good.
Congratulations to them. The Azir pick again comes out and just solo carries the game. As soon as you see that on Champ Select for Ryoma, you can be sure that he's going to have a good performance on it. We'll see what adaptations Direwolves can make for Game 2, because running back the same drafts will not be a good idea.
Certainly won't be a good idea. They'll need to figure out what the response is going into game number 2. As for Antic, though, they may look to run it back. If the Azir is up, they're always going to take it. It's 1-0 to Antic at the break.